What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Uncle Fred back in the house again, just checking, getting with you, giving you the updates on a lot of the things that's going on in the world of the NFL and sports in general. Go ahead and hit that like and hit that subscribe button. We're not going to talk for but long, but just a couple things I just want to share with you in the world of the NFL. NFL is heating up. Many of you might know there was a Thursday night football game on last night, and we did our pick'ems on Wednesday night, and we picked. This is so your boy is 0-1 already. So the story was the Cleveland Browns, the Denver Broncos come to Cleveland to face the Cleveland Browns, and the Cleveland Browns were without a ton of people. Okay, they were without a ton of people. I mean, first of all, they were without their quarterback Baker Mayfield, who has a shoulder labrum tear, and they were without Nick Chubb, their starting running back, who has a calf strain. They were without Kareem Hunt, their second running back, also had a calf strain. And they were also without Jack Conklin, who was a starting right tackle. Now back to play this game was the left tackle, Jedrick Wills. Roll Tide. I got to do that. But he's there, but the right tackle wasn't. So they were without those three individuals. Then you had a limited OBJ. And then you just had Jarvis Landry coming back from an injury as well. So it would appear that the Denver Broncos, this would be a win for them. And that's the way I figured it. And that's why I picked them. Now, on paper, at full strength, Cleveland's the better team. Quarterbacks are about even. Running backs, you'd have to give the edge to the Cleveland Browns. Wide receivers, it's about, if they're all there, that's about even. The defense, that's about even. But then the backups and the offensive line, you definitely get that to the Cleveland Browns, who is recognized as having probably the best offensive line in football. So if all the players are there, then you would definitely pick the Cleveland Browns. But with them missing the starting quarterback, both running backs, and the right tackle, you starting the guy that ain't started, and quarterback that hadn't started the game since 2 years ago, in Case Keenum. Denver's coming in pretty much at full strength. Yeah, you have to win that game. So what happened? Well, the Cleveland Browns won 17-14. And this was really a game that people were scratching their heads about, like, okay, Denver, who exactly are you? Okay, because you come into the game against the Baltimore Ravens, you 3-0, lose that game. You come against the Pittsburgh Steelers, you lose that game, and then you come up against the Las Vegas Raiders, who have all kind of things going on with them, and you get beat by them. So I'm thinking, well, Cleveland got all these things going on, got all these people injured. So I figured they would win it, but they was 17-14. They really gave a half-hearted effort. The Denver Broncos amassed 223 yards of total offense. What are you going to do with that? 223 yards of offense. And missing a starting right tackle, missing a starting running back, missing the backup running back, which, Kareem Hunt could start on probably 20 of the 30 teams. He probably could start 32 teams. He could start for probably 28 of them. Okay. So both running backs and, the receivers are kind of at reduced. And they let some dude named D'Ernest Johnson rush for 140 yards. The heck? Now, quiet is kept. This same D'Ernest Johnson rushed for 95 yards against the Cowboys last year when the Browns faced the Cowboys, and that was part of a 304-yard effort. That was when the Cowboys weren't really playing defense. You had guys running all over the field, and they let Odell Beckham Jr. run back a 50-yard reverse. Come on, man. But anyway, yeah, they let D. Ernest Johnson, I think that's his name. I think I got his name right. But he rushed for like 23 times for like 140 yards and a touchdown. The heck, man, what are you doing? Case Keenum, I mean, he didn't light the world on fire. He's 21 of 33 for 187 yards, and he didn't exactly 21 of 33, 21 of 33, 199 yards and one touchdown. Okay, that's what he had. And like I said, and they had 376 yards. They rushed for 182 yards. Now, back up to the backup running back, or you missing the offensive lineman. You got Jedrick Wills coming back, who's coming off of an injury, and you let them run for 182 yards. Teddy Bridgewater was 23 of 33 for 187 and two touchdowns. A costly interception in the first quarter, trying to hit Noah Fant in the seam, and just hung it up. Just hung it up late, and it got picked off. I mean, these are the kind of games that get guys fired. I'm just gonna say that because Vic Fangio, yeah, if your seat wasn't hot before, that thing is scalding right now. These are the kind of games that get coaches fired, because really you're facing a team that's got, I mean, you could play all season and never face a team that's missing. They're starting running back, they're starting two starting running backs, starting quarterback, and one of their starting offensive linemen. Okay. And you'd be hard pressed to find a team to play with those deficiencies. So somebody asked the question like, dang, if you can't beat the Browns when they're down those guys, when could you beat them? Who are you going to beat? If you couldn't beat that team with that going on, backup quarterback, back up to the backup running back, some guy playing right tackle, and then, limited at wide receiver and this sort of thing, who you going to beat? So that's a very disappointing loss. This is one of them losses where the team would seem to start circling the drains, because when the year started off with so much promise, they was 3-0, but I told you that I thought that they 3-0 would tell me something when they played Baltimore, a legitimate team, because their first 3 wins were against the Jets, the Giants, and the Jaguars. Okay, and then when they played a real team, Baltimore manhandled them. And Pittsburgh, who was struggling themselves, but they got a win off of them. And then they come against the Raiders, and Raiders go up and down the field on them. And then, that yesterday they run into a team that really looking for some way to lay down until they can get their injuries healed. And you just let them, they scored 3 minutes into the game. They went right down the field right after the opening kickoff. Went right down the field, ran it right down their throat. And a team that's got, Von Miller, and I know Nick Chubb, Bradley Chubb. I'm not sure if he played in that game or not, but that defense is supposed to be more substantial than that. But disappointing win, a disappointing loss for Denver. And to make matters worse, in the third quarter, Von Miller goes down with a very severe ankle injury. It was thought to have been, he's pounding the grass, and you're thinking that it's going to be a pretty bad, maybe even season ending. But they said he probably won't miss but maybe a game, if any time at all. And many people was wondering, because he missed the entire 2020 season with a dislodged ankle tendon on that same ankle. So, they dodged the bullet on that one, but they didn't dodge the L. And so that's a very positive win for Cleveland, overcoming obstacles, because they always say next man up. So this was the next man to the next man up. So now, what this win does now, and there have been some discussion about that on some of the sports talk shows that I've listened to today. What does this mean for Baker Mayfield? Okay, because realistically, that night, Thursday night, they were 60% on third downs. They've never been more than 50% on third down in any of their games this season with Baker Mayfield. And I've mentioned to you before that Stefanski has a working relationship with Case Keenum because they worked together when he was quarterbacks coach at the Minnesota Vikings, and he took them to a 13-3 record at 17. So he's familiar with some of the formations and the tight end, the little tight end screens and the different. I saw some run some of those plays, and to Njoku and some of that. I saw some stuff that I hadn't been seeing before. So the question being, if you can get this same production out of Case Keenum, are you going to be looking to pay Baker Mayfield $40-50 million, which is what he would be looking for, because that's where the market has been. Because you're looking at guys like Patrick Mahomes, got like 45, and you got Dak that's got 40, and you got Josh Allen. I mean, you got like 40, 45, 46. And who knows what Lamar is gonna be expecting. And so you're looking at these guys, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Baker Mayfield, all in the same draft class. Okay, so yes, their time is up, and and so the Browns didn't pick up his 5th-year option, so he's got the ball out this year. Now he's going to be missing significant time, and then if they can get this same kind of production, and when the running backs come back, it's going to be interesting what happens with Baker Mayfield from here. And then see, Baker Mayfield don't help himself out with some of his cockier than thou mentality. He's just sometimes I'm this dude just STFU, man. Talk too much. Well, I'm hurt, but it's my decision where I'll play. Now it's my decision. Dude, stop trying to make it seem like everything that you control everything. You control nothing. If them doctors say you're not playing, you're not playing. Okay, has nothing to do with you. It's out of your control. That just was a dumb thing to say. But anyway, moving on from that. But that's some questions got to be asked with the Cleveland Browns, what they're going to do going forward with that situation. And so it may be a situation where Baker hurries up and get ready, get healed up so he can play, because they a couple of wins under his belt with Case Keenum, and they're going to be looking at this thing sideways. And I'm saying I'm talking about the Browns. So the Browns get a tough, gutsy win under extreme circumstances, and Broncos have a very disappointing loss, and playoffs, what seemed a couple of weeks ago to seem to be a shoe-in, now it's like a pipe dream. They're 3-4, and where do they go from here? So anyway, moving on, other NFL news. Now the big news of this week is the Deshaun Watson, Tua Tagovailoa, Miami Dolphins, Houston Texans dynamic. This thing's been heating up as the trade deadline comes into view, which is November 2nd. Now those rumors were going on some months back with the situation going on with Deshaun Watson. We know Deshaun Watson having the 22 sexual impropriety allegations going against him, and which was a while back, and then he had vowed that he would never play for the Houston Texans again, and saw the trade, and then a week or so later, that's when these things start cropping up. I think the timing of those seem curious. And I'm not saying one thing or another or leaning one way or the other. I'm just saying the timing of those things seem rather curious to me. But anyway, the Dolphins, a lot of people had questioned the Dolphins as to whether or not they should try to get themselves a quarterback and maybe give up on Tua. with Tua. I got a special spot for Tua because Roll Tide. He played for Alabama. He's the all-time leading quarterback in yardage and touchdowns for the University of Alabama. This dude completed like 69% of his passes for like 7,700 yards in like 2.5 seasons. Eight games his first year there in mop-up duty. Then he played 2 full seasons. 2 seasons, 1 season, and 9 games of his third season, where he got hurt in the Mississippi State game with a fractured hip socket, and he was done for the season. But in 9 games, he threw for like 3,500 yards and 28 touchdowns. All right. So anyway, so since Tua has been a Dolphin this year, he's thrown for 544 yards and 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. In his career, he's played like 11 games. He's thrown for 2,358 yards, 14 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He's missed a significant amount of time because of different injuries. And of course, he came into the league injury prone with the hip. He also had 2 tightrope ankle surgeries. And he's not really, a big man. He's 6 foot. They listed him as 6 foot. A lot of people say he's really like 5'11" to 6 foot. He's like 210 pounds. He's really so people now are really questioning his durability. And then you got Deshaun Watson, who and both of them were standouts at their universities. Tua, winning the national championship in 2017, 2018 for Alabama, and then winning the same in 2015, 2016, the year 2015, 2016 for Clemson. So they both, and so Tua kind of came into the league the year after Deshaun Watson left, and the second year after he left. And so they kind of, Deshaun Watson, his last year, he had a wonderful year last year with Houston, but they only won 4 games. They under Bill O'Brien, he got rid of his leading receiver, DeAndre Hopkins, and a bunch of other moves, bringing in David Johnson, kind of a washed-up running back, and a bunch of other things. Just some bad moves, and but Deshaun Watson last year threw for 4,823 yards. That's nearly 5,000 yards on a 70.2 completion arc. 33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Okay, and he signed this big $146 million contract. So, and then whatever went on with the Houston organization, he behind the scenes, because we see these organizations, we don't know how they run their business, but for some reason they he ran afoul of them and the vice versa. And so anyhow, he's got these charges hanging over him, and he's kind of, in an article I read, he still comes to the facility every day, and while the team is out there working on their pass patterns and working on their scrimmage and thing, he's in the gym working out, lifting weights and stuff like that. And then he comes to some of the meetings, comes to some of them, don't come in some of the other ones. So it's a thing. I talked to a Dolphins fan today, and I want to get what their feel was. And he felt like it would be reckless for the Dolphins to trade Tua and whatever other assets. I think that the Texans are looking for like 2 firsts and 2 seconds and some other players and all these other things. And it would be, in his mind, it would have been reckless for them to do that and give up all of those assets for a quarterback that you don't know if he's going to play for you or not, because we don't know what's going to be the end result of these charges and things that are hanging over his head. So we don't know. We don't know what's going on with those charges or whatever. So, it may be he get as soon as he gets the deal, is the ink is dry on the deal, that the commissioner Goodell might put him on his exempt list and he can't play. And he may, if worse come to worse, he could be getting jail time. Who knows? And a lot, and from a lot of people's perspective, it's like, is it too early to give up on Tua? He had he came back. He played. He got their first win on the first game of the season. They played the Patriots. They won 17-16. and then they've lost their last 5. Some of them in spectacular fashion, losing 35-0 to the Buffalo Bills, and that was the game. He played 6 snaps, got sacked like 3 times, and got his ribs cracked, and just came back this past Sunday against Jacksonville Jaguars over in London, and he played well. He's 33 of 47 for 319 yards and 2 touchdowns and an interception. So, I thought he played okay. So the question is, I mean, if you're Miami, are you? And then here's the story from Brian Flores. The story came up today, and this is what Brian Flores said. Dolphins head coach Brian Flores gave a public endorsement of Tua Tagovailoa after rumors of potential trade for Houston Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson. These things flared up again this week. I don't really get into the rumors. Tua is our quarterback. Flores said when asked about Watson, we're happy with our quarterback situation, and we'll leave it at that, which I've said on multiple times. Although the Houston Chronicle has reported Wednesday that a trade between Miami and Houston could be finalized this week involving Watson, who is facing 22 counts lawsuits against sexual assault and inappropriate behavior. He's requested a trade in January before such lawsuits were levied against him, and he's not played or been active for any game this year as a result of that. And of course, I've told you about, he comes to the facility. I mean, he has to do that to get his money, because if he don't show up with the thing, they got cause to not pay him, and he wants to get his money until they figure out, and they've made him inactive this whole this whole season. And so, so that's the thing. Tagovailoa Tua has missed 3 games with fractured ribs and led the Dolphins to their only win of this season. They're currently on a 5-game losing streak. So anyway, as the trade deadline approaches, that's something as football fans we need to really keep an eye on. So that's that. So anyway, other NFL news as it relates, this kind of involved the Houston Texans too. Longtime linebacker Whitney Merciless was released this week. He was drafted in 2012 with first-round pick number 26 out of the University of Illinois. He has been a stalwart and a very good defense over the years. Defense that included J.J. Watt, Brian Cushing, as well as others, Jadeveon Clowney, and some others who were all on teams together, and they had some very good defenses. And Whitney Merciless is second since 2012, is second on the Texans in sacks with 57. But he got released and was immediately scooped up by the Green Bay Packers. So now we see the Green Bay Packers have picked up Jalen Smith from the Cowboys about a month ago, and then they picking up Whitney Merciless, some more defensive heads. We know that Zendarius Smith has been out, and then there's some other guys that have been out, and they've been beset on the defensive side with injuries. The Packers are currently 5-1 and are leading the NFC Central right now, and I believe are playing the Washington football team Sunday. No reports as to whether Merciless will be playing this week or not. I would guess not. And so those are some of the news of the day as it relates to the NFL and things of that nature. But we're going to keep an eye on the Denver Broncos. That bad loss. We'll keep an eye on this Tua, Deshaun Watson thing, and as the trade deadline approaches. And we'll keep an eye on the Green Bay Packers and other things. And it appears like the Houston Texans are having a fire sale. So they're currently 1-5, having lost 5 straight. Won their first game just like the Dolphins, and have lost 5 straight. And several of them in spectacular fashion, losing 31-3 to the Colts last week, losing 40-0 to the Buffalo Bills. But played well against the New England Patriots and should have won, and played well against the Carolina Panthers and had some opportunities to win, and played good against the Cleveland Browns when Tyrod Taylor was playing, and really had a lead in that game until he went down. He's not played since game 2. So there's that. But there have been other games where they completely got outclassed. So, Now, Merciless, we know he's the second player to leave Texans and move and go back to Green Bay following Randall Cobb. Of course, now Randall Cobb left them, beginning this season, with all of the offseason things involving Aaron Rodgers. That was kind of the maple leaf or the olive leaf or whatever you want to call it that the Green Bay brass offered to Aaron Rodgers for all the headaches and all the things that he caused them over the offseason. But Randall Cobb had mentioned that, going to Green Bay, which he played previously before, he was in Dallas for a year, 2019. But all the years leading up to that, he was in Green Bay. He got drafted by the Packers, actually, and out of Kentucky. But he said that going to Green Bay out of Houston was like getting out of prison. Okay. We know the Houston Texans kind of got a sort of a reputation, if you will. But Merciless said nothing like that. He said nothing like that. That he didn't share his sentiments. Now, if you thought that that the Houston Texans were a prison, Randall Cobb, nobody told you to sign with them. You was with Dallas, and you was playing well with them in 2019. And I thought you would be coming back the next year and kind of give us that, because if that had happened, they would have never drafted CeeDee Lamb. We'd have had, Amari and Gallup and you in the slot and whatnot. But, you decided you wanted to go to the Texans, and leave the Cowboys. So, hey, sometimes you running from the very destiny that you destined to fall into, So, but anyway, so that's the thing with that. So both Randall Cobb and Merciless are both with the Packers, along with Jalen Smith, all pick up. So we'll look for see what the Packers do this year as the season unwinds. But that's all I have as for NFL news, and trying to keep you up to date with all the stuff and all the goings on and all of the things going on. Could be I will be doing a video later on the Cowboys. On just a couple things from Cowboy news, keep my Cowboy stuff separate. So hit that like, hit that subscribe, leave a comment. Please join in and participate in the Uncle Fred experience. I promise you won't be disappointed, and I promise you I will continue to give you good content as I have it. But that's all I have from the desk of Uncle Fred. We ask you just to continue to hang in there with us, man, as we try to grow this thing. You have a great one from Uncle Fred, and we out.